Good moment, everybody. My name's Brittany Histing, and I'm here with Surfing Waves of Light, my current inspiration on how we can better heal our mind, body, and soul. Today, I would like to share with you all a synchronicity story that I have around the Ringing Cedars of Russia series, also known as Anastasia. This is the second book right here. I've loaned out the first. And so I just wanted to talk about an amazing synchronicity story that I have around this series. So, as many of you know, back in, I guess, 2017, 2018, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He was given about, 6-8 months to live, maybe a year. And I went on a journey to start learning more about how to heal in a non-traditional manner. I'm trained as a nurse. I worked in the ER for 6 years, and I was basically given this challenge by the universe to widen my horizons and start to learn a little bit more about what is out there in the healing realm. So me and my dad went to a place in Southern California called the Optimum Health Institute. There we were given a mind, body, spirit education. We were put on a very strict diet. We drank lots of wheatgrass juice. We had classes. We had morning stretching, movement. We took classes on emotional, mental, spiritual healing, as well as how to physically, make juices and ferment things and all different kinds of skills that, aren't so readily easy to pick up, especially back at that time, and especially in New Jersey where my family is from. So we learned a whole lot there. But one of the best parts about going to that place was that I met a lot of really cool people who were very open-minded and had very interesting experiences when it came to their journeys of healing. Everyone was there to try to heal in a way that was not, through the Western medical system, maybe assisted by it, but not just strictly by it. And so those interesting people gave me a lot of good leads on information and books that could be helpful as my dad and I went through what I would call our healing journey, because I think my dad healed through death, but I healed through life. And really, I think the whole journey was for me anyway, as everything always is. So back to the Ringing Cedars of Russia. So we were in one of our classes. I think it was about composting and gardening. And there were 2 women in the class. We had become friends with them. At OHI, you were only supposed to be eating vegetables and vegetable juices. And so these women had given us an apple, which was kind of like very funny because there, it was kind of like feeling like you didn't feel like you were in jail, but it was kind of like, oh, we're not supposed to have apples. So it was kind of like against the policy. You could do it, but it was just, you weren't supposed to be out in the open about it. And so they gave us an apple, and it was just very funny. So we had bonded with them, and we started talking with them after class. And there was a young girl there with her mom. She had cancer, and she told me about the Anastasia series, the Ringing Cedars, all about the message of the power of the cedar trees, which is very interesting because I live in New Jersey, and the place I live is full of cedar trees. We actually have one of the nicest water, like in-ground water. I'm lacking words here right now. That because the cedar trees, they filter the water and they create really nice water. And so we have this really beautiful water right near me, and it's all because of these beautiful cedars. And I've grown to love cedars so much. So I learned about them. I ended up meeting my boyfriend, another synchronicity story I'll share another time. He is a woodworker, and he loves cedar too. He makes everything out of cedar. He often smells like cedar. So cedar has been just a synchronicity in my life anyway. Also, just know that I didn't know anything about wood or gardening. I was raised in the suburbs of Philly. I pretty much was, as Greg calls me, a city girl. Never got my hands dirty. My dad, before he passed, told Greg that I was not a blue collar worker, and just to make him aware of that. So, although I do some stuff now, but so just know. So there was all these synchronicities around cedar. And I read the books, and these books have amazing information in them. I'm still reading them, but I read the first couple books, and I was just completely astounded. So fast forward, I I had been living at home with my dad. We came back from OHI. I've been living at home for a while. I read one of the books, and I was working at a local ER nearby to Long Beach Island, and I was juicing a lot, and I was getting really into gardening because I learned that growing your own food can be very healing. And of course, I was trying to do anything that I could to help assist my dad in his healing journey. And so a nurse came up to me one day, a nurse I worked with. I was a per diem nurse too, so I only worked about 4 shifts a month. Sometimes I wouldn't see the same nurses. It was always kind of touch and go with who I would end up being on shift with because I didn't work very much because I was a per diem nurse. So, and my focus was on my dad, and so I just needed to make a little bit of money so I could support myself while I was on this journey. So this nurse, Dorota, this lovely being, came up to me, and she was asking me about my gardening and some of the techniques I was using and what I was learning. And we got to talking, and I normally was kind of quiet about my more spiritual insights or the books that I was reading that were a little bit out of the norm. But I just felt inspired to mention to her that I was reading these books, the Anastasia series. And she knew what I was talking about right away. She had also read at least the first book of the Ringing Cedars Anastasia story, and we connected immediately. I was telling her how much inspiration I was receiving from Anastasia, how I really wanted to create a beehive, because in the first book she describes like the perfect way to make a beehive. Thought it was very interesting. It really resonated with me, and I love bees, and I know they really help with gardens. And so we had a great conversation, but of course we needed to get back to our patients. And so we did. So I didn't work for a while. It might have been like a month or so, because I would work 4 shifts in a row, and I would leave usually for about a month. And the next month I came back. I was on shift, and fortunately that nurse Dorota was there. She came up to me and she handed me this little package. And in this package was this necklace that I'm wearing right here. And she said that in Russia and Ukraine and some of those other countries, people actually sell these little necklaces. They're supposed to be a little cedar tree, a little piece of it. This was part of Anastasia's message that everyone should have a piece of cedar. It has healing powers. It has all kinds of amazing energies that we can tap into. And so working in this ER where I really barely knew anyone, I'd only worked there for a short amount of time, this lovely woman came and gave me a piece of cedar, something I would have never known about. I didn't even know they sold these related to this book. And so it just felt like a huge blessing that, and a huge synchronicity even more, that what are the odds that I work at this ER, this woman knows about Anastasia and also happens to have one of these, and then she gives it to me. It was one of the best gifts I've ever received. I've done a lot of energy healing, and I've been taking healing touch classes, and most people use pendulums for assessing chakras, but I found that this necklace works just like that. I can use it in assessments. It's not a stone, it's a piece of cedar, but I've just been really connected to this necklace. It's been probably over 3 years that I've had this necklace. I've taken it everywhere with me. It never breaks. Nothing bad ever happens to it. And it always makes me feel really secure. And even in the book, she does have some instructions on what to do when you have one of these necklaces or if you have a piece of cedar. So it was just a really amazing synchronicity. And I love sharing my synchronicity stories because part of my journey here is to share with people the power of synchronicities. Because synchronicities, they're one of those very obvious guiding forces that our guides and teachers can use to let us know how we're doing on our path, or if we're, on the road to light, love, healing, and joy, which is what they want for us. It's part of what we came here to be creators, to be loving, and to be joy. And before I close this video, I just want to remind you of 3 things. So 1 is the power of synchronicities. Don't dismiss them so readily as a coincidence or random. Synchronicities, they're very intentional. There's an entire book about synchronicities that I really like, and there's lots of channelers and people out there who are talking about synchronicities. The second one is that you can connect with your guides and teachers at any time. You are never alone. You have loads of loving guides and teachers. They're your unconditional cheerleaders. You cannot upset them. They are always going to love you. And so in order to access them, you just need to ask them for help by waking up each day and just saying, hey, universe, guides, God, Jesus, whatever you connect with, I'm open to receiving your help. And if there's something specific, you can always set an intention with that, and they'll be there for you. And then the last thing I want to share with you before I close out this video on my synchronicity story with the Ringing Cedars of Russia is that you are unconditional love. That is what you are. Anything else that comes out of us, any lowered emotions, sadness, greed, anger, jealousy, upset, guilt, those are not who you are in your essence, in your spirit, in your core. So just know that you don't have to do a single thing to deserve love, to be love. You are unconditional love. That is your natural state. And as time goes on, I think that's going to become more and more clear to each and every one of us. So I wish you all the best. Follow your synchronicities, and I'll be posting more awesome stories about synchronicities, my synchronicity stories, and how synchronicities play a role in helping to guide my life, which has become super freaking awesome. I love my life, and I want everyone to live in love and joy and wake up each day excited about what they're doing. So I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you next time.